Hello and welcome to Lost Love Chronicles.
My girlfriend said, "We need a break to see if we miss each other." I blinked. Not because I didn't hear her, but because I needed a second to process the absurdity. "Oh," I said, doing my best not to laugh. "So, trial breakup with a return policy." She didn't smile. Of course not. She was wearing her serious face. The one she used when deciding between oat milk or almond milk at Trader Joe's. "I just think we're stuck," she said, solemn as a monk. "I love you, Marco. I really do. But I've lost perspective." "Perspective," I repeated, nodding like I was at a TED Talk instead of my own breakup. "Yeah, nothing restores clarity like cutting off the person you love and pretending they're dead for a few months. Revolutionary therapy technique." She sighed. "That I'm the mature one here, sigh. I think we need to take a break. No contact. Just give it a few months and see how we feel." Right. A few months. Like cheese aging in a cave. Or milk left out on the counter. Except this milk was named Avery and had clearly already checked out. I could practically see the little parachute behind her back as she jumped ship. I listened patiently. I nodded in all the right places. Because I'd already decoded this speech. A break isn't a pause. It's a soft breakup. A breakup with training wheels. A pre-divorce appetizer. I mean, come on. Let's see if we miss each other. Lady, I miss pizza 5 minutes after eating it. Missing something doesn't mean it's good for me. I miss being 25 and having knees that don't pop when I sit down. Doesn't mean I want to go back there. The truth was simple. This wasn't about clarity or perspective or growth. It was a cowardly maneuver designed to keep me on the hook while she explored the buffet of romantic possibilities outside our 2-bedroom apartment. And here's the kicker. We were sitting in that very apartment. The same one we'd shared for 2 years. I'd just replaced the shower head last week. Fixed the kitchen drawer that always jammed. Apparently, I was only useful as a part-time handyman and emotional security blanket. She sat me down on our thrifted IKEA couch, now apparently the official location of relationship executions, and gave me this Oscar-worthy performance. "I feel like we're stuck in a routine," she said, all melancholy and misty-eyed. Translation: I want to flirt with strangers without guilt. I could have argued. I could have asked questions. Who? Why now? What's really going on? But what would have been the point? Arguing would have made me look weak and desperate. She was probably expecting a meltdown. Maybe a dramatic monologue. Tears. Bargaining. Me clutching her ankles as she tried to leave like it was a soap opera. Instead, I just nodded. My face. A serene mask of zen-like calm. Inside. Sure, there was a 5-alarm fire going on. But outside, I looked like I had just accepted an Oscar for best performance and pretending I'm fine. "I understand," I said with monk-level serenity. "I respect your need for space." The relief on her face was instant. Like someone had untied her from the tracks right before the train arrived. It was obvious she had geared up for a scene, some crying, maybe even me throwing a throw pillow in existential despair. Nope. I gave her nothing. Just quiet compliance. She packed a bag that night. Just one. Like she was going on some kind of spiritual retreat, instead of exiting a 4-year relationship in a puff of cowardice and vague promises. "I'll arrange movers for the rest," she said over her shoulder. "Sure," I said, still calm, still totally not Googling how to emotionally self-destruct in private behind my eyes. At the door, she gave me this sad little smile. "You know the kind. The kind you give someone when you're pretending this is hard for you. Even though you've clearly had this plan since last Tuesday. This is for the best," she said. "It'll make us stronger." Right. Stronger. Like arsenic. Or bleach. The door clicked shut behind her, and the silence that followed was the kind that practically begged for a voiceover saying. And that's when he realized. Yep, he was completely screwed. Of course I was hurt. I'm not a robot. For years is a long time. We had furniture together. Joint streaming accounts. A shared air fryer. But underneath the hurt, something colder began to bubble up. Not rage. Not bitterness. No, something far more dangerous. Clarity. Pragmatic, unsentimental, caffeinated clarity. She had decided to use the break to see if she missed me? Great. I'd use it to find out if I missed her. And more importantly, I'd become the kind of man she would absolutely miss. One she'd fantasize about late at night, while swiping on the same dating apps she probably downloaded before our break. And when she came crawling back, I'd be unavailable. Fully booked. Sold out. The first few days were brutal. The apartment felt empty. Like an abandoned showroom. My routine was gone. No more shared breakfast smoothies. No more Netflix arguments about what to watch. No more pretending to care about her yoga instructor's cat. But I refused to sink into self-pity. No sad playlists. No texting her under the influence of whiskey and self-loathing. This wasn't the end. This was a reset. A chance to reinvest in the most valuable stock I owned. Me. I made a plan. A real one. With bullet points. Step 1. Health. Because, let's be honest, in the cozy little rut of our relationship, I had gone from moderately fit to could probably be cast as before in a fitness ad. The gym had become a mythical place I used to know, like Narnia. So that very night, I dug up my old gym login, miraculously remembered the password, and reactivated my membership. Boom. No excuses. Step 2. My career. I was a senior analyst at a financial firm. I was good at my job. Reliable. Diligent. The human equivalent of an office coffee machine. Consistent, mildly appreciated, and never exciting enough to get noticed. Comfortable. That was the word she used. As if it were a character flaw. You're just comfortable, Marco, she once said, like I'd confessed to collecting toenail clippings or something. Well, comfortable Marco was done. At work, there was this monster project looming over everyone like a vulture. A full-scale data system migration. A career-defining disaster waiting to happen. Everyone else was avoiding it like it was contagious. I mean, you'd mention it in the break room, and people would fake a phone call to escape. So what did I do? The next morning, I marched into my boss's office like a man on a mission. Knocked on the glass. He looked up like I was about to quit or confess to embezzlement. I want the migration project, I said. He blinked. Are you sure? Absolutely. Give me the digital dumpster fire. I'll bring marshmallows. That was phase 2. Career resurrection via spreadsheet apocalypse. Phase 3. My environment. The apartment was still haunted. Not by ghosts, but by Avery's vibe. Her books. Her crystals. That giant, abstract painting she insisted was soul-centering, but looked like someone sneezed on a canvas. So I spent the first weekend of our break turning our shared apartment into a one-man bachelor fortress. Every item of hers. Boxed. Labeled. Taped shut like it might bite me. Her yoga mat? Gone. Her copy of Eat, Pray, Love? Vanished. Even her positive affirmation sticky notes got evicted. Sorry, but I no longer needed a yellow square on my bathroom mirror telling me you are enough. It felt good. Therapeutic. Like a breakup exorcism. Then came the inevitable. 2 weeks in, I got what I now call the winery confirmation. A mutual friend posted a photo dump from a weekend trip. There it was, sandwiched between a boomerang of a wine glass clink and a blurry vineyard selfie, a group shot. And dead center? Avery. Smiling. Glowing. Arm wrapped around Gerald. Gerald. Loud Gerald. Flashy Gerald. From her marketing firm. The same Gerald she had once described as harmless. Just a friend, she said. He's basically one of the girls, she said. Yeah, well, unless Gerald started identifying as her boyfriend during that wine tasting, I was looking at a pretty solid plot twist. They weren't standing like friends. They were standing like people who had just started dating and wanted everyone in a 5-mile radius to know it. It wasn't subtle. It was a rom-com poster. Any last shred of delusional optimism I had evaporated instantly. This break wasn't a thoughtful pause. It was an open casting call, and I clearly hadn't made the call back. But weirdly, it didn't hurt. It clarified everything. I wasn't in limbo anymore. I wasn't waiting. I wasn't even mad. I was free. And now that I had proof, I doubled down. The gym became my therapist. And unlike Avery, the treadmill didn't gaslight me. Work? That project became my new relationship. We had trust issues, but we were making progress. I stopped building a life she might want to return to, and started building one she'd never be allowed back into. She wanted a break to see if she'd miss me? Perfect. I'd give her someone unrecognizable to miss. By the second month of the break, the transformation really began to take shape. By month 2, the breakup fog had officially cleared. No more sad playlists. No more standing in the shower staring at the tile like I was filming a shampoo commercial for depression. It was gone, replaced by a caffeinated, laser-focused version of me I hadn't seen since college finals week. What had started as an intentional routine was now autopilot. Wake up, gym, work, sleep, repeat. It wasn't a healing journey. It was a reprogramming. A hard reboot with protein shakes and push-ups. And the gym? Oh, it paid off. The first few weeks were hell. I looked like a confused giraffe trying to do lunges. But now, I was leaner, stronger. My reflection in the mirror had stopped looking like a guy who eats his feelings and started looking like someone who knows what a complex carb is. The mental shift came right behind it. Confidence, something that Avery had quietly chipped away at like a bored woodpecker, came roaring back. I wasn't just starting to feel like my old self again. I felt like a version upgrade. Marco 2.0 now, with 100% less self-doubt and gluten. At work, the data migration project was exactly what everyone warned it would be, chaos in PowerPoint form. A logistical hydra. You solve one problem and 3 more appear, usually with poorly written error codes and an urgent Slack message at 2 a.m. But without the constant distraction of emotional doom scrolling or decoding Avery's vague thinking about us texts, I had the time, and brain power to actually dig in. I was running on caffeine, adrenaline, and passive-aggressive motivation. I worked late, solved hard problems, managed a small team, and for once, I didn't feel like background noise in my own career. My boss, who originally gave me that if you're sure, face when I volunteered, now walked by my desk with this look like he might actually be planning to nominate me for something. Or at least stop calling me Mike by mistake. And then came Samantha, senior project manager from the tech division, assigned to act as our liaison with IT. Translation: she had the thankless job of making sure our two departments didn't set each other on fire. Samantha was sharp, not just smart, surgical. No nonsense, no ego, no endless stories about her spiritual advisor. Just someone who got things done and didn't make it weird. That alone made her a unicorn in corporate. We first started talking during a late-night meeting where we were both troubleshooting a bug that seemed to only appear when the system was under stress, much like myself during tax season. At one point, she leaned back, cracked open a cold Red Bull, and said, "Tell me this isn't your idea of a hot Friday night." I shrugged. What can I say? Nothing gets my heart racing like failed data validation. She smirked. I used to think I'd end up in Paris by now. Instead, I'm arguing with a database that refuses to let go of 2004. We clicked instantly. Her sense of humor was dry, dark, and right up my alley. She didn't flinch when I quoted Con Air during a meeting. In fact, she finished the quote. "We're both big fans of terrible 90s action movies," she said one night as we worked side by side. "Oh, absolutely," I nodded. "If it doesn't have Nicolas Cage defying the laws of physics with a mullet, I don't want it." Samantha and I had built this thing, a solid, no BS friendship forged in the burning furnace of a soul-sucking corporate project. It was like war, but with more spreadsheets and fewer casualties. Mutual respect, mutual caffeine dependency, and an unspoken agreement to not scream during Zoom calls. Then came the night we slayed the metaphorical dragon. 12 hours deep into a system meltdown, running on energy drinks and sheer spite, we finally cracked the bug that had been holding up the entire migration for what felt like a century. Samantha leaned back in her chair, rubbed her eyes like someone who'd just emerged from battle, and said, "You did it." I raised an eyebrow. "Correction, we did it. I couldn't have done it without your magic touch and your deeply unhealthy relationship with Red Bull." She smirked, stuffing her laptop into her bag. "Well, a victory this big deserves a celebration. First round's on me." Normally, post-work drinks sound like an invitation to forced small talk and questionable nachos. But this time, I was in. We hit a quiet bar near the office. Dim lighting, no TVs, no one yelling about sports. Just two overtired nerds decompressing over cold beer. And for the first time in years, I had a conversation with a woman that didn't feel like I was being interviewed or low-key judged for my Spotify playlists. We talked about everything but work. Our families, childhood stories, dumb dreams, goals, fears, favorite cereal. You know, real human stuff. And it was easy. No drama. No weird tension. Just two people with shared battle scars laughing over garbage 90s movie quotes and the fact that neither of us knew how to fold a fitted sheet. It wasn't a flirtation. It wasn't strategy. It was connection. Then a few days later, I got the call. Boss summons me into his office. Tone, grave. Expression, serious. For a second, I thought maybe I'd accidentally deleted the backup server or clicked reply all on something I shouldn't have. But then he sits me down and says, "Marco, I've been watching your work on the migration project." Now, normally, those words would strike fear into my heart. But this time, he kept going. "You took on an impossible task, and you're succeeding. You've shown leadership, initiative, and honestly, impressive problem-solving skills." I blinked. Was this a compliment? From a man who once referred to me as Martin in a staff meeting? He continued, "We've been looking to create a new senior lead position for the analytics division. The job is yours if you want it." I didn't even ask about the fine print. Didn't care if it came with a secret dungeon or a lifetime supply of awkward networking events. It came with a title, a bigger team, and a 30% pay raise. I accepted faster than you can say Employee of the Month. I walked out of that office like I had just been handed the Infinity Gauntlet. Comfortable and broke, Avery once said. Well, now I was uncomfortable and rich, baby. That night, riding the high of my shiny new title and the realization that I had fully leveled up, I pulled out my phone and texted Samantha. No vague you up. No work thing. Excuse. Just straight up grown man confidence. Dinner. Saturday. Not a debrief. Not a bar. A real date. Her reply came in less than a minute. Yes. No hesitation. Meanwhile, the Avery and Gerald show was apparently losing steam faster than a budget airline flight with one working engine. Whispers floated through the grapevine. You know, the casual I'm not gossiping But here's everything updates from mutual friends who suddenly remembered I exist. According to the latest dispatch, Avery's whirlwind romance with Gerald the wine guy was less rom-com magic and more tragic vineyard detour. Sure, her Instagram told a story, scenic vineyards, filtered sunsets, Gerald feeding her grapes like they were auditioning for The Bachelor. But the behind-the-scenes footage? Not so glossy. Turns out, Gerald was everything he appeared to be. Flashy, fun, charismatic. Unfortunately, also flaky, emotionally unavailable, and about as reliable as a Wi-Fi signal in a basement. Basically, if you ordered adventure off a dating app, and it showed up 3 drinks deep and already forgetting your last name. Apparently, Avery, who once described my desire for a stable income as unsexy, was now spiraling, trying to lock him down. Locking Gerald down was like trying to staple Jell-O to a ceiling fan. So her little test drive of a new life? Not exactly smooth. More like 4 flat tires and smoke coming out of the hood. Shame. Except, not really. Month 3. The break was now just a hilarious footnote in my personal origin story. The man Avery had hit pause on was gone. Deleted, overwritten, factory reset. Replaced by someone better, stronger, and inconveniently happier than ever. My relationship with Samantha? It evolved from first date territory into something solid. Real. Adult. It wasn't built on games, cryptic texts, or emotional scavenger hunts. It was built on respect, mutual admiration, and the shared trauma of corporate email threads. She respected my drive. I respected hers. She never once told me I was too comfortable. She also never rolled her eyes at my snack drawer. That alone made her a keeper. Work was booming. The new senior lead role? Challenging in all the right ways. I wasn't just clocking in, I was building something. A real career. One that came with a better title, a fatter paycheck, and fewer people mistaking me for the intern. That old comfortable life Avery had once sneered at? Gone. Dead. Buried. Replaced with ambition, purpose, and a terrifying number of unread Slack messages. But there was still one last relic of the old life haunting me. Avery's stuff. Yep. The boxes. Still stacked in my spare room. Like emotional landmines, quietly collecting dust and judgment. Her books. Her weird decorative jars. That framed photo of a beach in Portugal she never went to but insisted inspired her. I'd kept them packed since week 1. It was time. So I crafted the world's most polite, detached, nothing to read into text. Hi Avery. I hope you're doing well. I still have the rest of your belongings. Please let me know where you'd like me to send them. And then nothing. No reply. I waited a week. Nothing. So I sent another text, this one a little more pointed. Avery, I need to clear out my spare room. If I don't hear from you by the end of the week, I will be putting your things into a storage unit. No response. Radio silence. Ghosted harder than a Netflix show that got canceled after 1 season. At this point, it was clear. She was either ignoring me out of pride or too embarrassed to admit that all her stuff was still homeless. Either way, I wasn't about to turn my apartment into an Avery Museum exhibit. So I followed through. Rented the smallest, cheapest storage unit in town, basically a glorified metal closet with anxiety. I paid for the first month because I'm generous like that. Packed up all her boxes, her yoga mats, her weird collection of mugs with inspirational quotes like live, laugh, lunge. All of it. Then I mailed the key and rental agreement to her parents' house. Registered mail. Signature required. A real adult move. Felt like I should have been wearing a monocle when I handed it over at the post office. She couldn't say she didn't get it. The cord wasn't just cut, it was surgically severed, cauterized, and thrown in the biohazard bin. Then, last Tuesday, exactly months to the day since she strutted out my door with her suitcase, and that I deserved better air, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. The message? I miss you. I just stared at it. Like it was a riddle. A year ago, those 3 words would have had me grinning like an idiot, ready to forgive anything short of arson. 6 months ago, I might have spun into an existential crisis set to sad indie music. But now, it felt weird. Like getting a love letter from your dentist. Technically intimate, but wildly inappropriate. I even had to squint at the screen for a second. Like who dis? And then it clicked. Of course. Avery. Her grand experiment in finding herself must have flopped harder than a diet on Thanksgiving. Gerald probably figured out she couldn't cook, couldn't compromise, and considered loading the dishwasher emotional labor. So now she was circling back, trying to reclaim the safety net she'd oh so graciously left behind. I was sitting next to Samantha when I got the message. She caught the confused look on my face like a hawk spotting weakness. What's up? She asked, raising an eyebrow. I turned my phone to her. It's my ex, I said. She read the message, blinked once, then turned to me with that sly, knowing smile that said everything without saying a word. She didn't look worried or jealous. She just looked at me with trust, calm, collected, sipping her iced coffee like she had no idea my ex was trying to re-enter the atmosphere like a flaming meteor of chaos. So, she said, "What are you going to do?" I stared at the message on my phone. "I miss you." The audacity. The sheer Olympic-level gymnastics it must have taken to twist this situation into one where I was supposed to come running back. It was almost impressive. Honestly, if delusion were a competitive sport, she'd have a gold medal, a Wheaties box, and her own fragrance line by now. This was the same woman who ghosted me. Ghosted, like we were 19 and this was Tinder. Left me hanging like an old coat, started dating someone else literally the next week, and blocked me when I asked if she wanted her blender back. Yes, her blender. Which, by the way, is still in my closet because I keep forgetting to throw it off a cliff. Now, 3 months of absolute radio silence later, she drops a "I miss you" like it's a get-out-of-jail-free card. I looked at my life. Gym? Check. I actually had visible triceps now, which is something I hadn't seen since high school. Promotion? Check. New job title, new desk, and a chair that doesn't squeak when I shift slightly to the left. And next to me? An actual goddess of calm and rational decision-making who didn't run at the first sign of mildly inconvenient feelings. This wasn't her taking a break from me. This was me getting paroled from her. I started typing. Honest. Final. The literary equivalent of a mic drop. Sorry, who is this? Send. Delete conversation. Block number. Boom. Felt like a tech-savvy ninja. Or maybe a petty wizard. Either way, it was perfect. Like ending a bad Netflix series right before it jumps the shark. I slid my phone across the table and looked at her. She smiled, took another sip of her drink, and said, "Good." And that was supposed to be it. That was supposed to be the end. Curtain call. Fade to black. Exit stage left. But no, apparently this was just intermission in the tragic comedy that is my ex's ego. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Obviously, I'm not falling for that new phone who dis-reverse trap. Buzz. Another unknown number. Then another. My phone was lighting up like a Vegas slot machine. She was clearly using her friends' phones now. I imagined the group chat. "Hey girlies, I need you to commit to some light harassment for me. It's for love." I didn't answer, because I'm not legally obligated to participate in her rom-com reboot. Then came the emails. To my personal account. To my work account. I wouldn't have been surprised if she found a way to contact me through LinkedIn next. And the tone? Oh, the tone shifted dramatically. The first message was confused and hurt. "It's me, Avery." "What do you mean? Who is this?" "That's not funny, Marco." I almost laughed out loud. "I mean, seriously, who is this?" That's the line you use when you drunk text your ex after watching a Nicholas Sparks movie, not when you just detonated a relationship. The next one? "Oh, now we were mad. After everything we had. You're just going to pretend you don't know me. Our break is over. I'm ready to come home, and you're playing these childish games." Ah, there it is. The old "our break is over" declaration. Like it was a vacation and she's back from Cancun with a tan and zero accountability. And then, the final one, late at night. The panic special. You could practically hear the wine glass clink as she typed. "Okay, I get it. You're mad. I shouldn't have just texted. We need to talk. Gerald and I are over. It was a mistake. I miss you. I miss our life. I made a huge, huge mistake. Please, just call me." A Shakespearean tragedy in iMessage form. I read them all, not with anger, but with that weird mix of secondhand embarrassment and clinical detachment, like watching someone try to use a vending machine that just ate their money, and then punching it like that'll help. She still didn't get it. She thought my silence, my absence, was me playing hard to get. Sweetheart, I wasn't playing anything. I was living. For the first time in months, I wasn't being emotionally waterboarded every morning over almond milk and her weird obsession with Gerald's emotional depth. She thought my actions were punishment for her leaving. No, my actions were a celebration. A liberation. A full spiritual exfoliation. But hey, I believe in closure. Not for her. For me. Because otherwise, she'd just keep popping up like a software update I didn't ask for. So unblock her number and called her. Just enough mystery to guarantee she'd pick up like it was Jesus on the line. She answered on the first ring. "Marco," she said, voice trembling with that special blend of desperation and delusion. "Hi, Avery," I said, calm as a yoga instructor on Xanax. She practically gasped, like she'd just seen a Lifetime movie come to life. "I knew you'd call. I knew it. I'm so glad." Avery." I cut in, gentle but firm, like a waiter letting you know you've been cut off. "I'm calling to ask you to stop contacting me. The emails, the texts, the carrier pigeons, all of it. It needs to stop. But our break is over," she said, voice cracking like a cheap wine glass. "I miss you. I'm ready to come back. We can fix this." "There's nothing to fix, Avery. You'd think I had just told her Santa Claus was dead. The break wasn't a pause. It was an ending. You wanted to see if you'd miss me. Apparently, you do. Congrats. Gold star. Meanwhile, I spent that same time seeing if I'd miss you. Turns out, shockingly, I don't. I gave it a second, let that sink in like an expensive serum. I've moved on. I've built a new life. And then it happened. Like flipping a switch. With that woman. She spat, her sadness instantly turning to venom. You replaced me that fast? I laughed. Actually laughed. Not the broken, wounded laugh you let out when someone kicks your heart like a soccer ball. No. This was a good one. The kind that bubbles up from somewhere deep and dry. I started living my life that fast. I corrected her, tossing a peanut into my mouth like I was courtside at her emotional unraveling. You, on the other hand, were sipping wine with Gerald at a vineyard like this was The Bachelor. Budget edition 1 week after you left. Silence. Sweet, pin-drop silence. If Avery had a comeback, it must have choked on its own ego. The only difference, I continued, pacing slowly around my apartment like I was on some courtroom drama finale, is that my relationship started after ours was over. Yours? Well, yours came with a prequel, didn't it? A prequel you conveniently forgot to mention while you were still figuring things out. Still no response. I imagined her blinking. Once. Twice. Maybe mentally cross-referencing her lies with a calendar. Cack out your tongue, Avery? I asked, smiling into the phone. Or is Gerald holding it hostage in his NFT collection? Crickets. It finally hit her. She'd spent so much time trying to keep me as her emotionally stable backburner option that she never once thought I might say, nah, I'm good, and actually mean it. I truly hope you find what you're looking for, Avery. I said, genuine for the first time in what felt like years. But it's not with me. I didn't wait for a reply. I hung up. Click. Power move. That was 6 months ago. Since then? Well, Samantha and I just signed a lease together. A new place. Our place. No ghosts of relationships past hiding in drawers or haunting the couch cushions. Just clean, fresh starts and a slightly squeaky closet door I keep forgetting to fix. Work? Thriving. They gave me a new title. It's one of those roles where nobody's quite sure what you do, but everyone agrees it sounds important. I'm healthier. Happier. I eat kale now. Voluntarily. Meanwhile, I heard through the grapevine. Okay, from Jamie, who still follows Avery on Instagram out of sheer morbid curiosity, that Avery moved back in with her parents. Gerald, the crypto wizard, apparently vanished the moment Ethereum dipped. Poor girl diversified everything except her judgment. Our mutual friend said she's struggling to get back on her feet. And you know what? I didn't gloat. I didn't dance. I just made a cup of coffee and smiled into the steam like a smug little Buddha. Her break was the best gift she ever gave me. A catalyst disguised as heartbreak. She thought she was putting me on pause. But what she really did was press play. The ultimate revenge wasn't a dramatic rom-com moment or some explosive, you'll regret this scene. It was subtler, quieter. It was choosing to invest in myself instead of waiting around like a sad little side dish on the banquet table of her chaos. She wanted to keep me as her plan B. I just chose to become my own plan. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.